Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime drama this hour, barrie-craig-confidential investigator. This episode, entitled Corpse on the Town, was originally broadcast March 9th, 1955.
William Gargan stars as barrie-craig, confidential investigator.
Refer to a guy as the ghost of his former self. Look twice at the getup he's wearing. He might be sporting a bedsheet.
The National Broadcasting Company presents William Gargan in another transcribed drama of mystery and adventure with America's #1 detective, barrie-craig, confidential investigator.
barrie-craig speaking. There's generally a lot more to show business than what people finally get to see from the 480 seats. The backstage, behind-the-scenes shenanigans of what is delicately referred to as the pre-production phases. Brother, can it get wild? Wild and very homicidal. The particular case I have in mind began innocently enough. It commenced up near Yonkers, in a rubble-strewn area that looked like an A-bomb testing grounds in the Nevada Flats. The ground floor door I went through read Luther Bassett, Canine Dentistry. Canine Dentistry. Inside, there was a guy in a short white medical coat. A pretty patch of hair on his chin in the style of old Vienna. Luther Bassett, I figured him to be right off. I'd never seen a goatee on a Jones. The dog with him was on the operating table. A while later, in a cubicle off the operating room, Dr. Bassett and I tried to reach an understanding.
I thank you for coming so promptly, Mr. Craig.
Well, you phoned me. You said urgent. You said liberal payment. I liked your language, especially liberal payment. Now, squelch my curiosity first. What do you fill a dog's teeth with? A T-bone steak?
The same as with humans. Amalgam, gold. The one you watched had lower bridge work done.
Lower bridge work, huh?
Oh, that dog is a Broadway star.
Oh.
Fluff. You must surely know him.
Oh, when I go to the dogs, I do it on the east side of town, never on Broadway. Oh, what play?
The hit comedy Mr. Galooly's Ghost. Fluff plays a big part. Oh, he gets a tremendous salary.
High living's ruined his choppers, huh? So, what's the nature of my employment to be, Bassett? Something to do with dogs?
Of the human variety.
In show business?
Yes.
Oh, you're also in show business?
Only as an investor.
Uh-huh. How much? And what theatrical?
I have invested $20,000 in a proposed musical fantasy called 2055.
2055?
The calendar year 100 years from now.
Oh.
It is a fantasy about the end of the world.
Amusing thought. Who's producing it?
Stanton Bishop.
And what's your particular anxiety?
Rumors that I have heard that the show is overfinanced.
Is that bad?
Well, perhaps I'm not using the right word.
Wait, I think I know. A man has 100% to sell to investors, but he sells 150%. The show opens, flops, loses its nut, but Stanton Bishop isn't a bit worried. He has a load of sucker money salted away.
If Stanton Bishop is a swindler and not a legitimate producer, I must know. You must investigate for me, discreetly. Do you want a retainer?
Foolish question. Money in front sharpens my talent. I found Stanton Bishop in a rented rehearsal hall on a side street along the main stem. Black Homburg, pink cheeks, yellow teeth, suede shoes. When I found him, he was pulling producer's rank on a lot of long-stem dolls in dancing tights.
Girls, tomorrow I want to see more bounce, more jump. The title of the number is A New World is Born. That means leaps and ecstasy. You've got to prove it to the customers. Dismissed for the day.
I listened while he complimented the baritone.
Mr. Eduardo Bernard. You sang, and all I heard was a television commercial for a mouthwash. Before signing as a lead baritone, you should first have your adenoids removed. You're fired from this show.
When Bishop finished throwing his weight around, I tried abusing him.
By what authority do you inquire into my private business affairs?
This badge.
Chicken inspector.
If I were a more sensitive man, that could get you a punch on the nose.
No, I'm a hard case. You punch me and you're a murderer.
The book, please.
Book? What book?
The one you keep for your own information. The record of investors and money. Who and how much. Now, where do you keep it?
Why, in my safety vault.
Not here in your desk?
Here in my desk? Huh. Why? To accommodate sneaks like you?
That laugh sounded very falsetto to me.
You stay out of my desk. It's personal. It's sacred to me.
Oh, I'll bet. Oh, could this be it?
You give me that ledger.
Yeah, wrestle with me, Buster? Okay, if you must be placated. Now, don't oversleep, Buster. I get through this book, my hunch is we'll have things to talk over. Bishop had his swindle written down in his personal ledger so plainly it looked like a confession to the DA. Bishop came to, and we talked it over. Now, your musical is budgeted to cost $300,000. You've accepted investors' cash totaling over $400,000.
Well, money for contingencies.
Baloney. Who is a show angel named Eloise Finchley? She's in for a cool $150,000.
She can afford it.
Oh, I would imagine.
Craig.
What?
Eloise Finchley's investment, it isn't exactly a straight stock deal in the show.
Then what is it?
More of a personal loan to me.
You sure thought that little dodge up fast.
Well, that balances my books, doesn't it? Take away Eloise Finchley's money, and the cash I have so far accepted is less, mind you, than my proposed budget.
I'll believe the personal loan dodge after I've talked to Eloise Finchley. So, what's her phone number?
I don't want you telephoning her, Craig.
How many times a day must you be rocked to sleep?
I'm making a change in that script, if you'll notice, Craig.
Uh-oh. And, where was that gun up till now?
Never mind.
You look more like a hood now than a show producer. More in your natural element.
Don't force me to shoot. Hang up that phone and get out.
And we'll get out for a couple of moments. March 9th, 1955. William Gargan as barrie-craig confidential investigator on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of barrie-craig Confidential Investigator, March 9th, 1955.
Bishop's violent urge to get me out of his office at that moment was nothing impulsive, as I soon found out. It was strategy, plain and simple. Nor did he go far. Just a motor ride to the nearest Gretna Green. Gretna Green being shorthand for any place where marriage could be completed as fast as a couple could chirp, "I do." I read all about it in the morning papers. It was Broadway impresario Stanton Bishop marries socialite Eloise Finchley in surprise elopement. At my first opportunity, I paid my respects to the bride in a fancy bridal suite almost as close to Central Park as the statue of Sherman's horse.
Champagne, Mr. Craig?
Conversation, Mrs. Bishop.
You disapprove of my marriage?
Your mister will never get through the pearly gates.
Is there a man without vices? Really, Mr. Craig?
How come you eloped with Bishop immediately with my investigation of him?
How come? Now, let me see. Yes. He invited me on a motor ride. It was perfect weather. The moon, Mr. Craig, you've never seen such a gorgeous moon.
And that was it?
Love doesn't stop to reason, Mr. Craig.
I've heard. Bishop married you as a cover-up for his larceny. The marriage takes you off his books as an outside investor and puts it in the family. It, balances his books.
Must we really be so dull, Mr. Craig, so prosaic? I'm a bride. I'm in heavenly raptures.
Yeah? You're heading for one big hangover.
I adore champagne.
I'll leave sounding one last dull and prosaic note.
Must you?
The sudden elopement smacks of conspiracy. Conspiracy to frustrate an investigation of Bishop's peculiar theatrical financing. Sweet matrimony was only a device for whitewashing him. How about that?
You don't really expect me to testify against my husband, Mr. Craig.
Okay. I know when I'm licked.
And you forget. $150,000 of the total on Stanton's books was my own money anyhow. My own money, Mr. Craig.
Yeah. And frankly, that angle of it has me befuddled, perplexed, confused, and mystified. I reported back to my client, the canine dentist, Luther Bassett. Well, who's the dental patient now, Bassett? Another famous dog actor?
Oh, yes. This is Rinky Tin Tin.
Rinky Tin Tin?
Reputed to be a grandnephew of Rin Tin Tin.
Bow, wow. Genuine aristocracy. And what show is Rinky in?
The World and Egg. It's a play about reincarnation.
What does Rinky play in it?
Napoleon. The dog is the 20th century reincarnation of Napoleon. Mind you, it is an allegorical play.
Yes, I get you. Well, you can leave your $20,000 with Bishop or not, as you please.
You mean the operation is legitimate?
Now it is. I think I scared him into legitimate producing. I mean, if Bishop actually has the show business know-how for producing musicals.
But he was first contemplating a swindle?
With every breath in his body.
Then I will withdraw my investment.
Well, you won't get all of it. Not at this date. Bishop has had some pre-production costs already. But salvage what you can. Go ahead. Well, my cost to you is $300. Pay me off, Bassett. End of case. Only it wasn't. It was just the beginning, as it turned out. The blissfully newlywed Stanton Bishops were doomed to make more headlines. Gruesome ones this time. I saw it first on a street newsstand. Mrs. Stanton Bishop. I could only see that much. Hey, give me that paper, boy. The whole headline read, Mrs. Stanton Bishop killed in street mugging. It had sure been a short honeymoon. I let official sources amplify the newspaper details for me. In this case, a first-grade detective in homicide named Scotty.
What's your interest in the late Mrs. Stanton Bishop, Craig?
I mourn her passing. How did she go?
A street assault.
And what was taken?
Well, so far as we know, her purse, a diamond wristwatch, and her wedding ring.
According to whom?
Stanton Bishop, when he identified the body.
Well, what police results so far?
None.
No clue to the alleged mugger?
You hit the word alleged. Why?
Because, frankly, I'm skeptical.
Your reason?
Nothing concrete, so I won't give it yet. What was the cause of death? Strangulation?
A broken neck. She'd been hit with the side of the palm, a rabbit punch. It's a favorite blow with mugger.
Or a killer trying to make it look like a standard mugging. Now, where did it happen?
54th and 9th. We found the victim in an areaway.
Hard to believe.
What is?
A lady of her style being at 54th and 9th to begin with. Eloise Finchley Bishop was Park Avenue, very perfumed, very upper class.
Not always.
Well, what would that mean?
Our check into her pedigree turned up some interesting facts. She was posing as a socialite, and her maiden name, Finchley, was an assumed one.
Then who was she, really?
Eloise Berkey, Father was a railroad brakeman. Parents now both dead. Eloise herself was a dress model when she worked. Not that there's any law against posing as society folks.
No, there isn't, only one thing really has me confused now.
Yeah, what's that, Craig?
Well, where would a sometimes dress model get $150,000 for a theatrical investment? I was around the rehearsal hall to give my condolences to Stanton Bishop personally. He looked a little different to me this visit. The pink cheeks were sallow, deep lines in his face, like he'd had some new worries added.
What do you want here, Craig?
What was Mrs. Stanton doing on the wrong side of town?
How should I know?
Or what was stolen from her?
I've already told the police.
Well, tell me.
Her pocketbook, a diamond wristwatch, and her wedding ring. Craig, you're not going to maliciously persecute me.
Shouldn't I?
Well, I'm in mourning. I experienced a horrible tragedy. I think of how Eloise died. I have nightmares. I'm in a cold sweat.
Sad. What's happened to her $150,000?
Craig, please, not at a time like this.
Tough to answer, huh?
Look, I'm straight, clean as a new baby. Maybe I had ideas once, wrong ideas, but all right, you cured me. Now, let me live.
That depends on how your wife really died.
She was attacked. She was robbed. Her neck was broken by some homicidal maniac.
Oh, that's how it was made to appear.
Then you are going to persecute me maliciously.
At least until you explain to me how an ex-dress model was able to invest a fortune in your show. Also, what really was the attraction that got you two married?
Heckle me or embarrass me with the police and the public. You'll only make trouble for yourself.
Did you murder your wife and fob it off as a mugging by a person or persons unknown?
No. I tell you no. I tell you no.
I did a further check into the background of the corpse with the grudging connivance of first-grade Detective Scotty.
Hey, Craig, I can get reprimanded for this.
Or promoted.
Yeah, promoted for letting you into an apartment officially sealed to the public.
Now, look, I solve this. I quietly turn the information over to you. I don't take a bow. You get a promotion and a raise.
Oh, boy, are you good at dangling sucker bait.
Well, Eloise Berkey, alias Finchley, ex-dress model. Where did she ever get $150,000? Well, squat somewhere, Scotty, while I look around. I came up with a ton of stuff, hidden away in bureau drawers, ribbon packages, and a steamer trunk. The personal stuff nobody ever throws away. Old letters, diaries, a high school pin, and picture albums. Lots of picture albums. The recent Eloise had collected the history of her life in snapshots.
Yeah, she's in it from the first baby pose on a bear rug right to maidenhood.
Yeah, Eloise in pigtails, in her school graduation dress. How she looked at Sweet 16 on her first date, as a slim chick in a one-piece bathing suit. How she looked as a dress model.
Hey, hold it, Craig.
Well, what strikes you?
That page of snapshots, the two shots. Eloise posed with a guy. 6 pictures, the same guy.
Well, what about it?
Well, study the face of the guy. You recognize him?
Yeah, I've seen him. Why, sure. He's famous.
Notorious. He's Artie Anzac.
Big gun Artie Anzac.
Big gun used to be. Oh, he's responsible now. Retired from the rackets. He's had it. Served 20 years in Leavenworth for tax evasion.
This page of pictures, Anzac and Eloise, they look like very recent photographs.
Watch out with Anzac, Craig. He's still king to a big piece of gangland.
I'll be most respectful. I've got a thing about royalty. Anzac lived like royalty should. A heavily wooded estate on the outskirts of the city, with a high stone wall around it like the side of a mountain. I found him practicing golfing putts on a library rug. I talked while Anzac concentrated on his stance. When he'd figured out his answers, he gave them to me.
Sure I know Eloise. Sweet kid.
Sweet dead kid?
Yeah. Ain't it a shame? Out walking and that's it. Still, everybody dies. Some just go sooner.
What was she to you, Anzac?
A babe. I bought her a coat, I bought her one of them foreign cars, and then I moved on to another babe.
Period.
Period. I'm not poor. Spread the wealth, I figure.
Did it bother you when Eloise married Stanton Bishop?
No, not a bit. I'm for marriage. My mother was married. I even sent them a wire of congratulations with a load of flowers that cost me a C note. Craig, I already had another babe.
Yeah, you said.
Now I'd like to get back to my putting, huh? I'm in a tournament tomorrow.
But I'm not through talking.
What else is it?
Well, I'm at the point now of mentioning $150,000.
Lot of dough.
Eloise invested that much in Bishop's musical production.
Now, where would a babe get that kind of cabbage?
I think from you.
Hey, I'm not that generous.
I think Eloise invested it for you. Idle money, hot money, undeclared income. She was your front, so tax officials wouldn't be the wiser. You'd already served time for tax evasion. You'd had enough of that.
Hey, that's quite an idea you got.
Oh, I'm loaded with ideas. I also think Eloise double-crossed you, that she invested the money for herself, and that Bishop knew the source of the money and what Eloise was up to, and that Bishop used that knowledge as a weapon to make Eloise marry him.
The conclusion of barrie-craig Confidential Investigator for March 9th, 1955 comes up following these important words on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of barrie-craig Confidential Investigator, March 9th, 1955.
Now, why would he do that?
Oh, he had to make Eloise marry him. I'd been investigating Bishop. I'd found irregularities enough for me to alert the district attorney. Bishop had to find a device for shutting me off.
I got practicing to do, Craig. I'm in a tournament tomorrow.
I think you murdered Eloise to pay her off for the double-cross. And as an object lesson for Bishop. So Bishop will respect your $150,000 piece of his musical production. I think you're the killer, Anzac.
What's this putt? Huh. Beautiful, huh?
I left Anzac to drive home. Anzac's wooded estate adjoined a famous state park, popular with campers, hikers, and hunters. Signs on roadside trees advertised the 2-week open hunting season. Deer was the big game. I almost qualified. A rifle shot through my side window that almost skinned my scalp. A wild shot, I wondered. Or was it a devoted Anzac subject trying to please the king? It was one of the things in life I'd never know. A chain is no stronger than its weakest link. Stanton Bishop figured to be the weak link. An easy mark for a trick designed to get corroborating evidence against a suspected killer. I found him alone in the rehearsal hall, chewing on a dead cigar.
Craig, you soured my whole life.
Oh, sad. I wonder how nervous you'll be, Bishop, strapped in the electric chair.
Strapped me, Craig? For what?
The murder of your wife. I've got evidence against you.
Evidence?
Those articles supposedly stolen from Eloise.
So?
So I've got them locked up in my office safe.
Where could you get them?
Right out of your wife's bureau.
It's a trick. You're lying to me. You're trying to trap me in something.
But you can't be sure, huh? You ad-libbed a story of stolen articles to make the alleged mugging plausible. Why were you so anxious to have it written off as an unsolved mugging? Who were you afraid of? Now, you clam up, you'll only be a fall guy, Bishop. Who's the somebody else, Bishop? Come on, it's trembling on your lips.
Anzac. Artie Anzac. He murdered Eloise, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, don't bother to. I already know why. Now, the guy answering this phone will be Scotty of Homicide. Tell your story to him. From here on, it's his case. Hello, Scotty. This is Barrie-Craig. Scotty, I've got a guy here who's going to mean your raise and promotion. Yes, sir. A Craig promise is always redeemable in cash.
Next week, it's the strange story of The Golden Touch, about which Barrie-Craig has this to say. In The Golden Touch, a doll with amnesia forgets everything but her alibi when her partner in unholy matrimony takes a second fatal leap out of her arms and into eternity. The National Broadcasting Company has just brought you an NBC Radio Network production with William Gargan starring as Barrie-Craig, confidential investigator. Directed by Andrew C. Love, the cast included Harley Bear, Frank Gerstle, Vivi Janis, and Joe Forte.
From March 9th, 1955, Barrie-Craig Confidential Investigator on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, let's wrap up the yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Plantagenet Matter. This was originally broadcast March 9th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for
Johnny Dollar.
This is Paul Dameron, Mr. Dollar. I was afraid you left town, and I wanted to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to thank you for your kindness about Amy and the way you handled Terry. It was darn decent of you. And of course, I want to apologize for my attitude again.
How's Mrs. O'Connell?
Terrible. I mean, the papers this morning connected her sister Amy with murdering Belden and committing suicide. I'm curious. How did you get to her?
I found Amy's purse and there was a gun in it. I looked up the registration.
Oh, the murder gun.
I don't know. I haven't turned it over to the police yet.
Why?
Because I still can't believe Amy Duran was the kind of girl who'd shoot a man and then take poison.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar. Location, Vicksburg, Virginia. 2, Special Investigator Johnny Dollar for personal reasons in connection with the Plantagenet Matter. Expense account item 11, $15, legal fees for services rendered by lawyer Sam Oldfield.
Now, sign here, Dollar. And here, sir. Okay, I guess that's it.
What now, Mr. Oldfield?
This statement you've made to me clearly states your intentions in this matter, your motives. You attempted to help a girl who died in your company. You had no idea she might have committed a murder or embezzled $10,000. You withheld evidence, the gun you found in her purse, in the hope of identifying her and saving her family some grief. I hope you don't have to use this stuff.
We'll see. I'm going to turn the gun in now, and you're coming with me.
It's about time. Nothing personal, son. I think you did a lot of dumb things for her. From what they're saying in the papers about her, I don't think she deserved it. But then we all make wrong guesses sometimes, I suppose.
Let's get this over with. Lawyer Sam Oldfield accompanied me downtown to police headquarters, where we sought out Lieutenant Akins and turned over the .38 automatic. Oldfield handed the statement over to him, and he read it through. Then he called in his ballistics man to make an immediate check of the gun. When he'd done that, Akins asked Oldfield and myself to wait. He left. An hour later, he came back.
You are a lucky boy, Dollar. First off, I'm going to tell you, that gun you've been withholding, that's the same weapon that killed the auditor, Clarence Belden. Okay, now, you played it as safe as you could, and you hired this lawyer to protect you when it came to turning it in. Well, you didn't need him.
Huh?
Any other time, I'd have put you in the poker so fast you'd have thought you was born there. This time I'm feeling generous. You can go, Mr. Oldfield.
Me?
You.
No charges against Mr. Dollar of withholding information?
No, not this time. I got my Jane Doe identified. I know her motive for killing the auditor. I know why she took the poison. You generally don't get everything in a neat package like that, so I feel generous.
Then let's get out here, Dollar.
You get out. I want to talk to Dollar.
Then I'll stay and listen.
It's okay, Mr. Oldfield. I'm going to get a lecture is all.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Call me later, then. Goodbye, Lieutenant.
Yeah. One thing more, Dollar. We found an empty bottle of paramythol in Amy Duran's medicine cabinet, and that cinches that suicide part, in case you had any doubts. It's a closed case.
Uh-huh.
But you didn't help me close it, Dollar, and you could have. You worked with the police for years. You were an officer yourself once. What makes you think you can come down here and run around doing all these things you've done and get away with them? Why didn't you turn that gun in with the purse as soon as you found it?
All right, I'll tell you, because I... Oh, it doesn't make any difference now, Lieutenant. You've got your case.
And you're lucky, darn lucky boy I don't have you, too. Because you know just as well as I do that... Oh. Lieutenant Akins. Okay, right away. Dollar, I got business to take care of. Next time you're in my town, you take it easy.
I will. But I don't think I'll ever come to your town again. On general principles.
Well, I guess I know how you felt about that girl. I'm not going to make any fuss about what you did. But I don't think I'd let it pass a second time. She sure didn't look the part, did she?
No, she didn't.
Yeah, happens that way sometimes. What you told me about that kid sister of hers trying suicide and so forth after she lost her husband. Well, Amy Duran had a good motive for stealing that money. If motive can ever be good.
Dollar, Lieutenant?
Huh?
I was just on my way to see you, Lieutenant.
I'll be back in my office in a couple of minutes. You can go on in and wait, Mr. Dameron.
I'm glad I saw you, Mr. Dollar. I think there's something I should explain to you. You'd be interested in this, too, Lieutenant. Mr. Dollar saw me arguing with Amy Duran in a parking lot at the Plantagenet Hotel last night. She just told me about the shortage in accounts. She hadn't told me about killing the auditor. I want you to know that I was racking my brain trying to find a way to get hold of some money to make up the shortage. I was always very fond of Amy. I wonder, Mr. Dollar, if I could give you a check.
Huh?
Something for your kindness.
Nothing, thanks.
Well, I'd like to. You did something very decent.
No.
Oh. Well, I suppose you'll be leaving soon. Goodbye, and thanks again. I'll be in your office, Lieutenant.
Right. Got to him, too, if it's any comfort. What was that business in the parking lot?
Oh, well, I hit him. He was arguing with her, that's all.
No. You weren't the only one trying to help her, Dollar. Him. And then there was somebody else.
Huh?
A bank. We found a certified check for $10,000 in Amy Duran's apartment.
What?
National Trust in New York, issued 3 days ago. I wired the head cashier in New York. He said Amy Duran phoned him long distance, requested the loan. Seems her folks, when they were alive, had a good pull at
Wait
that
a
bank.
minute, hold it. Then this isn't right. She could have covered that shortage.
Well, I figure she intended to do that, but the auditor found out too quick. He called her on it, and she shot him.
With a $10,000 check in her hand?
Well,
there isn't an auditor or a bonding company going that wouldn't prefer to turn up the cash and the person who took it. They'd listen to any reasonable story. You know that.
Well, the auditor must have scared her, Dollar. She shot him, didn't she? She committed suicide, didn't she?
You make a lot of noise, Akins, but you aren't any happier about this than I am, are you?
No.
Why let the papers have it the way it is?
Well, so that whoever knows the answer will get careless. Sure, it burns me. Somebody thinking the police are as dumb as this. Burns me.
Well, what are you going to do?
Wait. Just wait.
I found that pretty hard to do. And the more I waited and the more I thought about the matter, the more restless I felt. So I didn't wait. I got out and started interviewing people who had known the murdered auditor. The consensus was that he knew his business, that if he'd found a shortage and someone offered to reimburse the company, he had been the kind of old hand who would have listened to them. Why, I asked myself, if Amy Duran had a $10,000 check to cover her shortages, why did she shoot the auditor and then commit suicide? Why? It didn't make sense.
Oh, Dollar.
Hello, Dameron.
Come in, Dollar. I'm glad you dropped by. I thought you'd left town, gone back to Hartford.
Well, I've stayed over so long waiting for all this to get cleared up, I thought I might as well stick around a while longer.
Sure. Can I get you a drink?
No, thanks.
It is finished, isn't it?
Not yet.
I don't understand. I talked with Lieutenant Akins today after I saw you with him. He said it was all over as far as he was concerned.
You're talking to me now, Dameron. I'm the guy who went out on the limb.
And I appreciate that a great deal.
A question I want to ask you. You knew Amy Duran, worked with her at Richmond Limited. You're engaged to marry her sister. Did you know Amy had a $10,000 check in her hand the day she died?
Really?
That was enough money to cover the shortages in her accounts.
Well, I'll be darned. Why do you suppose she shot him? Did what she did then?
I've been thinking about that, Dameron. There's only one reason I can think of. Because Amy Duran didn't steal any money, because she didn't shoot any auditor, she didn't commit suicide. I think she borrowed that $10,000 from New York to cover up for somebody else.
Somebody else? Who?
You.
Maybe you better leave here. You're upset.
That auditor was a smart guy. He'd been in the business a long time. He found out who'd been taking the money. He called you over to ask you about it, ask you if you could repay it. You lost your head and you shot him with the .38 you picked up over at Teresa O'Connell's one day.
Now, look.
Then you fixed up all the reports to make it look like Amy Duran did the job.
You're crazy. That's fantastic. If you think I'm
Amy
going
Duran borrowed money to cover for you. She did it not because you were worth it, but because you meant something to her kid sister. You meant something to Teresa O'Connell, who'd lost one husband and tried suicide because of it. A Teresa O'Connell who couldn't afford another major tragedy. A Teresa O'Connell who might try suicide again if the man she was going to marry turned out to be a thief. You counted on that, Dameron.
I don't know what you're talking about. Now,
One thing you hadn't counted on was the auditor picking it up so fast. And when he called you, you had to kill him to keep him quiet. Then you made a date with Amy out at the Plantagenet Hotel. You slipped poison in her drink and planted the gun in her purse.
This is all talk. Just talk. You have nothing to prove.
She had one drink with you before you argued with her out in the parking lot. She told me. And the bartender later verified it. Then I came along. Now, look. You're a big guy, Dameron. You could have hit me back in that parking lot, but you didn't have time. You still had to get over to Amy's apartment and plant an empty poison box.
You're crazy. You have no proof of this. No proof at all.
No, I haven't. But I've been thinking about it all day, and there'll be proof. You had to buy that poison someplace. Lieutenant Akins is a pretty good police officer. He and his men will cover every drugstore in this town and ask questions everywhere.
Now, listen,
I'm going to
Dollar.
tell him what I think, and he'll dust off that box of poison. Maybe your prince will turn up on it. Sooner or later, guys like you make mistakes, and Akins finds them.
Get out of
But
here,
I'm not
Dollar.
gonna
Get
wait
out
for
of
any
here.
Now, listen, you. A girl, a fine, decent girl, asked me for help. This is the quickest way I know to give her the help.
I'll kill you, Dollar. I'll kill you.
No, you won't. You're not going to kill me. Okay, come on. Get up. Get up.
I've had enough.
I want you to tell it now, right now. Over there. Pick it up. Go on, pick it up. Okay, here. And you know who to call.
Hello. Give me the police.
Expense account item 12, $55, room and board. Item 13, $55 airfare and miscellaneous getting me back to Hartford. Total expense account, $702.13. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Remember, there'll be another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, beginning next Monday night.
Next week, a whole city is aroused by one of the dirtiest rackets of modern times. And I end up right in the middle of things. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by John Dawson, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Heard in this week's cast were Michael Ann Barrett, Gene Bates, Marvin Miller, Frank Gerstle, Lawrence Dobkin, Jack Crucian, Ken Peters, and Herb Butterfield. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Be sure to join us on Monday night, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Well, it wasn't exactly an insurance story, but it was a true case of bringing people to justice. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, March 9th, 1956 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you here each and every time we roll around here on this, your favorite radio station. Visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there, and makes your life a lot easier. You can also hear our shows on demand, not only at classicradio.stream, but also iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Have a great day. Thank this station. Support the advertisers. Tell all your friends that great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.